10 o'clock, we'll call the meeting to order.
I'll move to approve minutes from the previous meeting.
I'll second that motion.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve minutes from the previous meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All ayes, motion carries. Any additions or corrections to the agenda?
I don't have anything to add.
I'll move to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All ayes, motion carries.
Jim, I just got a message from Lisa Mayer indicating that the governor signed everything. I mean, there was no lighting item here for Carol had contacted them to try and line item and it didn't happen. And so that means that we are gonna have to consider moving our case management to general basic.
Okay.
Certainly not my choice.
No, I don't think it's right.
I don't know, the governor, did he ever endorse one of the senatorial candidates?
Not that
I don't think so.
I haven't read anything.
No.
Bill Nordley endorsed Jacobs.
Oh, did he?
I think the register endorsed.
Here's-
Yeah, he did. I saw that.
We're supposed to get rain today or tonight?
This afternoon and tonight.
Oh, as early as
Pretty
this
serious.
Yeah.
From Rapid City to Chicago.
Is that right?
It's a big one.
We're gonna start spraying there.
Mm.
Question. There's the.
Oh, and Andrew Van Hulsen's working for conservation. Neighbor boy.
Next week we'll canvass the election results from today.
On Tuesday.
Yeah.
I would make a motion to pay the claims on the register for $272,024.01.
I'll second that motion.
Motion's been made and seconded to pay bills. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye, all ayes, motion carries.
We have an appointment to the early library board. Sue Robbins is the non-city resident appointee.
Is this a reappointment?
I cannot tell you.
I'll make the motion to make the appointment to the early library board of Sue Robbins.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the board member Sue Logan. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all ayes, motion carries.
Keeping busy, Sherry?
Well, it's starting to get. This is for John Geeks, hall confinement. They did not have to turn in a master matrix because the construction site was before April 1st, 2002, and the animal used it. So, to me, I don't know why I'm here, but this is just, I have to be here because of the public notice, I guess.
Any contact about the facility?
Nope. I've got a picture of where it's going. It's gonna be right next to the new one, I didn't know. And it's farther away from the road than the one that's existing, so. So I don't see any.
Okay. Yeah, or he lives there.
Yeah. So I don't know, no, I don't think we have any.
What are they doing, adding another building?
Yes.
But it's bigger than the other one?
Yes, I think so.
He washed it after fire.
Oh, really?
At his place? Oh, really?
Big barn. I had a house in it sometime.
Township, I guess.
Yeah, that-
I had nothing to, okay or deny or anything, I just had to publish it and had no response, so
You need a motion in the minutes. That's it.
I would guess so, I think so, because I got to send a letter to the DNR saying you okayed it, so.
I'll make a motion that we acknowledge request for this new building to be constructed on the Deep Brook.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made and seconded for heat expansion. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye, all ayes, motion carries.
Thank you.
Yep,
Anything else?
Make a copy of this for me, and just leave it downstairs.
yeah, you can have that
Oh,
public
okay.
notice one, the bottom one I haven't made a copy of.
Okay, everything I need's on here.
I think so,
Yep. Yep.
you can have that one.
Okay, all right.
Did you ever talk to Ben about this Carvin ordeal?
Not since I talked to you, no.
Okay, I'll bring it up.
I mean, I've talked to him a couple times before that.
Okay. I'll bring it up to him today, so.
Okay.
Thank
Have a
you.
good night.
Yep, see you later.
We have DD 86 reclassification.
Yeah, Brian's bringing
That's the short ditch along the road, that small one, up in my neighborhood.
This is, it's the one south of the,
That goes along that
it dumps
road.
in the 250.
Right, right. And that, they cleaned that short.
Yeah, Healy did that.
Yeah. Yep. We have mental health regional things on the 4th and 5th. Once the regional meeting is on, so advisory board transition meeting and the regional one, I would think, will be significant because now Carol will have their answer about these reserves. See how they're going to proceed.
Mhm. So we need to get with Lisa then and talk about some numbers in the general fund?
Lisa and Carrie,
Yeah,
and maybe just Carrie, but
okay.
it will be just kind of upfront because it should return. We've made the adjustments necessary to not be attacked, to be a draw. It's just operating,
Right.
so,
So we'll need revenue numbers and expenditure numbers.
yes. Good. Well, and she would have provided those already for, I mean, it should be just a transfer.
Well, we'll have to change it from the Fund 10 to the general.
Right, but I mean, that
The
work
numbers
should,
will stay the same.
yeah, that work should be done.
Yeah. Just setting them up in the general fund.
We're gonna go recess. We'll come back out of recess.
I would appreciate.
Okay.
It's where that main tile comes in that got severed in 2 and 51. We had asked on several occasions. So is this, oh, I guess that- What are all the dots, Brian?
All right, well, yeah, we'll go through that here real quick. Here this morning, guys, I'm here to file the Commissioner's Report on classification for Drainage District 86. It is a open ditch facility just north of Linton, Iowa. You guys are familiar with the cleanout work that we were doing on that district. And what I have in front of you here today is a set of maps which the commissioners reviewed in order to determine what benefit each parcel derived. We'll go through those real quick, and then I've also placed a copy of the physical report from the commissioners on the reclassification itself. So on the big sheets, that I provided you, your first sheet is the spreadsheet that we put together in order to do the calculations. You'll see that on the left-hand side, we've got PIN numbers for each parcel, a legal description as carried by the assessor's office on for that legal description, and then you get into net acres, column for gravel, hard, state, and city. What those are is any gravel road right-of-way, any hard surface road right-of-way for the county. Then you've got state hard surface, and then any city that may be inside of the watershed. We didn't have any state or any city highways involved with this watershed. We had no county hard surface. We just had county gravel inside of the watershed. And as you move across there, you'll see the different factors, which I'll get into as we get on the maps as we get in. The first map behind that spreadsheet, you'll notice, is extremely busy. What's going on there is you've got black lines that represent what we call catchments. You'll have thin blue lines, which is the flow path leaving that area. And the dots or the points on this is what is known as concentration points. The computer takes a look at the LiDAR or the contours for the watershed. It divides it up into small areas of a certain amount in order to accumulate a certain amount of water. That's where the point originates the flow out of that catchment. So that's the point in which the area takes its water to in order for it to start a flow. Now, is it really flow? It's really kind of theoretical type of thing here, but it represents how water would flow out of that given area if there was so much water on that particular piece. So I'm not saying that there's flow there. I'm not saying it's a creek. I'm saying that if we had a concentrated flow leaving that area, that's where it would go in terms of the contours. You'll notice that the title on that is Soils, Flow Paths, and Catchments. We use this in order to determine our use of the facility, our proximity to the facility. Wherever we need a flow path length to calculate a factor, we come back to this map in order to find that length. The second map, labeled soil and wetness factors. You'll see here that we've got a soils map, which is from the NRCS, U.S. Department of Agriculture. Rick, we're on the second page now with soil and wetness. Each one of those colored areas represent a different soil type for that 40-acre tract as labeled by the NRCS Department of Agriculture. Each one of those soil types is represented by a number for the wetness of that particular soil. So if you have an Okoboji soil, that is typically a low-lying, very wet soil, that's going to have a number of 100. If you have a clarion soil, that's going to have a 30 number. So the number you see inside of each one of the parcels is the weighted wetness factor for that particular parcel.
For a 40 then?
For whatever that parcel may be. If it's a 40, there'll be 40 acres there that each soil gets a certain amount of acres of that 40. You weight the average of your wetness number in order to come up with the wetness factor. The next sheet that we have is proximity factor. The commissioners and I, for another factor, looked at proximity to the facility itself. What does that mean? That means that each one of these parcels has water flowing to the facility and enters the facility at a certain point along it. Also, each one of these parcels has a length of flow that they need to have their water basically traverse in order to get to the facility itself. So the farther away from the facility you are, the less payment you have. You don't have as much benefit because that particular facility does not flow through your given parcel. So what happens there is you've got a facility length, and then you have what is known as your flow length, which is out to your given track or your given parcel. You divide the two, and that becomes your proximity number. So as you can see, as you move away from the ditch, you get a lower proximity value. Those that are using all of the facility have a high proximity value. Those that are using very little amount of the facility have a very low proximity value. Next factor that was considered was use. Again, it's a flow path that determines your use factor, but this is based entirely on the length of facility itself. If your parcel, such as anything on the west side of Yankee Avenue, all of that water has to flow through a road culvert underneath Yankee and enters the very top end of the ditch. They use 100% of the facility. So everybody out there has a 100%. The parcel at the very top end of the facility on the east side of Yankee Avenue you see as 69.52. To explain that number to you, there was a small amount of flow that entered the open ditch through a surface culvert at the very top end that received 100% value, or a 100 value. The rest of that parcel, the rest of that 40, uses the tile as its main means of drainage and enters the facility at approximately station 16. So there is a large portion of that 40-acre tract that is weighted towards station 16 of the open ditch for its usage, and a very small portion of that 40 that is weighted towards the 100 value. Therefore, the weighted average for that given 40-acre tract is a 69. So that's the reason why you're not seeing a 100 value for usage on that particular 40-acre tract. Any questions? All right, we'll keep moving forward. Runoff factor. Say, for instance, we had a highway 520. We would have a 1.6 value on that given parcel for that hard surface that is impervious. That's what the runoff factor is for. You can see here that everybody received a 1 due to the fact that we were in row crop. So everybody received a 1 for runoff factor, leaving everybody that unit or that factor was basically neutral in this reclassification process. The next sheet is titled elevation. What we do here for elevation is we take into consideration how high up the ridge are you. Do you have a land characteristic that would allow for surface drainage off of these parcels without the need for any drainage or any district facility? As you can see in section 13, a lot of those parcels are completely dependent upon drainage from the districts in this location, whether that be the tile district of 2 and 51, lateral A, or the open ditch of 86. They need to have some sort of district there for their drainage. They have very little elevation allowing that water to get off of their property.
Brian, I keep looking at these where they're showing the severance of the tile to the northwest, I mean, that's showing that that's severed, but what about down on the south end? Right there. I mean, the piece from the west is now disconnected
Yes,
into the open ditch.
yes, yes. Yes, we're not showing it here on the map as well as we should. We should show a separation there.
Okay.
We should show it. And what I'm going to guess happened here, Rick, is it's there. It's just that it is of a scale that you cannot see the separation in the lines. That happens very often to us. And I will take note of that and try to be more conscious of making sure that we show those separations the way we need to.
Well, and
But yes, Rick, you're exactly
I know
right.
when we did that, that's why we improved it, is to sever that.
You are exactly right. Exactly right. We've got 3 segments of lateral A now. We've got this lower portion, and we've got a cap to the west of the ditch with the middle portion outletting directly to the open ditch at Station 16. Another cap, which was
Oh,
placed
so
in
that
there.
did get capped there?
Yes, in
Okay.
1946, they put a cap here at the very top end of the open ditch so that the upper portion of lateral A outlets directly to the open ditch and does not flow through middle. So upper, middle, and lower are all separate tile facilities.
That's the
now.
way I understand it, and I wanted to be sure we were on the same
Yes,
page.
and I physically saw the cap go in on lower, on the top end of lower. I seen the cap go in on top lower, and I seen the cap to the old line up at the top end.
Okay.
We uncovered that to make sure that we had everything, nothing was gonna need to be repaired or anything like that.
Before that was done, it was actually blowing up out of the ground, and before it was deepened. In both places.
In both
actually.
places
Yeah.
it was?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll keep our eye on that, but the old cap still looked to be in good shape.
I see.
We left that alone.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
you bet. So as you can see, as you head west, you get some good elevation going. There's very little, I don't have my section numbers on here the way I wished I did, but in the southwest corner, we've got a small piece of 0.79. That piece was on I want to say it was on a big ridge out there on the soils map. Yep. It was mostly like a nickelette soil.
One other question I had, Brian.
Sure.
When you were trying to determine which way some of the Peyton water went, you were going to visit with him whether it was going to be 86 or 251.
Yes.
How did that get shaken out?
Well, you can see that the boundary has not varied much from what was decided back in, I believe it was 1996. Was able to find a bunch of tile information from Don Etler's work at that time and reviewed that with Harold. And after everything shook out, we didn't change it much.
Okay.
There was
Okay.
just a couple of acres that changed there that we did, but it's pretty much exactly where we were at in 96.
Okay, thank you.
Next map is labeled percent classification. This map shows you who is the 100% parcel, Harold Payton's, in the northeast or the southeast of section 14, and how everyone else is related to his 100% parcel. And the important one is what comes after that page, which is the percent classification per acre. The classification per acre map shows you how evenly this district is now distributed. Our high being a 2.72% classification per acre, and our lows, just real quickly, a scan here is, my lowest one I'm finding is 0.16 out on the boundary edge, east boundary edge in northeast southeast section 13. So we've got a good even distribution on the classification per acre. Harold Payton being the 100% parcel, that 100% parcel will have 13% of whatever overall levy you're looking at. So when we have that 100% parcel in that 10 to 15% range of the levy, we feel very confident that we've got a nice distribution. That's about where we want to see that 100% parcels, in that 10 to 15% range. So he landed right in the middle of that. He's right at 13%, so just above halfway on that range. Commissioners report. Run through that real quick with you here. The open ditch was constructed in the mid-1940s, and it was completed in 48, spring of 48 it was completed. 3,470 linear feet make up the open ditch, and it was constructed as a need for surface drainage to Tile Branch A of Joint Drainage District 2 and 51. The open ditch of 86 and its watershed lies completely within Joint Drainage District 2 and 51. And just recently, we had a improvement project on 2 and 51 for the tile main. We have reclassified Branch A as part of that project as well. So 86 has been reclassified along with Branch A, which we discussed here earlier, having now a lower, middle, and upper segment to that branch, making it basically a 3-facility system. And we'll have separate schedules for each one of those facilities. We have apportioned the original cost for establishment of the district and the construction costs and project costs for the improvement. For record keeping, because Iowa drainage law requires that the district go to hearing on a repair if the project cost estimate exceeds 75%, and the drainage law requires hearing on any improvement where the cost estimate exceeds 25% of that improvement plus original construction dollar amount. I would like to thank Graham Hogue and Dennis Henrich for being our commissioners on this reclassification. If you turn to the last page of the report that I've handed out, you'll see that our schedule is now based upon $98,900. The existing schedule to date was based upon only the original construction dollars, which was considerably less at $2,855.91. If you have any questions, please, that does our presentation, or my presentation anyway, for today. If there are no questions at this time, I request that the board approve the commissioner's report as filed. And then we need to set a hearing date 40 days from today's date, which, correct me if I'm wrong, Renee, would be around July 15th.
That's the whole project and reclassification, is that correct?
Yes, reclassification is in that number, annexation, right-of-way
All
purchase,
costs, construction.
all costs, constructions, and The original construction dollars.
Oh, and the original?
And the original construction
Which is
dollars.
less than $3,000.
Which is less than 3,000, yes, yes.
Okay. So the last page are the assessments that are gonna go out.
That is your assessment schedule. You, as a board, after the hearing, after the public hearing, will need to set a levy.
But we're gonna have to cover most of 90,000.
100% levy would be that figure right there.
Okay.
Yes.
We, you know, depending on what we do for a sinking fund or, you know, anything like that.
There was $2,200 in outstanding on 86.
I think so. Yeah. Prior to the construction, you know, prior to.
Yeah, I don't have that. I've got that back at the office. I don't have that here with me today.
60,000.
So break down those costs for us. The construction cost is about 30 grand.
Construction costs, off the top of my head, was 28,900 something, so about 30,000.
29,652.
29? Okay. And then we had engineering with right-of-way costs, which there was some costs there on right-of-way acquisition because we physically took ground because of the open ditch. But the remainder from the 30,000 to 98,900, so we'll call it 99. We'll just say 99,000. And we'll subtract off the 30,000 of construction. We had about $69,000 wrapped up in engineering design, working with the NRCS for wetland mitigation because it was an improvement project. You would also have right-of-way in there along with the purchase of ground because we took ground, being that this was a improvement project.
About $17,000 of that was.
17 would have
Oh, is that
Right-of-way
right? Is that what we ended up
Yeah.
having to get?
Just short of 17,000.
So that leaves
Right-of-way
that leaves
So I'm at
50.
52,000. Reclass, where was reclass at? Off the top of my head, I want to say reclass was in the $6,000, $7,000 range. Then I know that we had some time to wetland mitigation. I'm estimating that would be in the same ballpark area there. So now I got my engineering down to about 38,000.
That's the last one. That kind of sets out a total at the bottom.
The fact that this was a improvement caused wetland mitigation discussions with the NRCS. And also the improvement took ground away from landowners adjacent to the ditch. And that brought up our costs also. But the schedule needs to represent the improvement cost plus original construction. And that is the reason for the $98,900 on that schedule line.
What did we determine for a date for the hearing?
The 15th of July.
The what?
July 15th.
What? Is that gonna be something after lunch?
It's 86, so it's not a joint drain.
It's not a joint drain.
It's whatever.
So we could probably do
We'll
that
do
during our
86
meeting.
on the 15th, and then we'll do
11 o'clock.
2 and 51 the following week, so that they're not together.
So, I'll make a motion to accept the engineer's report and set our hearing date for July 15th at 10:30.
I'll second that motion.
She's made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Do you want to do that here then?
Yeah, as part of our meeting, right? do it right here.
I don't think it makes much difference, 86, you know, there's
We're
not.
not gonna have very many
You're not
landowners.
gonna- We're not many
Only
landowners,
two
not
or
like.
three.
Oh, yeah, there's not very many landowners in the district.
251 might be a different story, but this one maybe.
Right. Yeah, actually, either one of them aren't very big.
Okay. Public notice will need to be put in the official newspaper. Drainage attorney to work on the notice, and I will help out.
That's Colin.
Usually I prepare and
You wanna
take them to
prepare 'em?
him. and
Okay.
Usually I prepare and he takes it and he just reviews it.
Okay. So I will work with you in order to get that notice prepared so that we can get that in front of legal counsel. To get that out, we need to have the notice in the paper 20 days before July 15th, so June 25th, we would need to have that in the paper by.
And notice mailed to the landowners, right?
And notice mailed to landowners within the district, yes.
Okay.
Yes. So, okay, if you don't have any questions, I will see to our pipe concerns, and anything else comes up, please give me a call, guys.
Thank you very much.
Okay, great, thank you. Jim, you got the, yep, you got the original there, so you can get that file stamped and
Yep.
into the rec.
We're good.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, guys, we'll see you later.
Good morning.
Good morning. Well, we're here to talk about the phones, but I just thought I'd update you quick on our mapping project. The $64,000 project is being installed today. That, the state paid half of that, $32,000 of that, so we, out of 911 funds, paid the other 32. So we're installing that today, training tomorrow, and we still have some work to do on it, but it looks like it's gonna be a lot better than what we had. So that project's almost completed. Will be, I submit today for the reimbursement of funds, because the last voucher gets paid today. So that'll go in the mail, then they should, Kathy at the state told me that they should turn it right around and send us a check. So we should get 32,000 back, so.
But hopefully before month end for fiscal year.
Yes, and they said they could get it to me before then.
Excellent.
So that was the whole project, trying not to, and I had the money anyway, but I wanted to make sure that we were covered. This is the, on the left-hand side, you'll see that for initial email that came from the state telling us that we have $100,000 from the wireless fund for the state that we can go in and request a grant. It has to be directly related to the answering and servicing of 911 calls. So that's the parameters under 34A, the Iowa Code 34A. So that was the initial thing. The actual application is underneath that, the 2 pages, just so I just provided that so you could see basically what I had to do. On the right-hand side is the actual write-up that I did for the project. And the project won't include just the phones, but I thought I'd tell you what the whole thing is gonna be. So that we have to update our recorder because of NG 911, we have to be able to record things other than voice. So we have to be able to record text, video, all of those kinds of things. So you can see in the center of the page, 39,140 will go towards a new recorder. Then the 44,884 is the phone system, which is what we'll need to talk about. And then the last thing on the grant is gonna be some touchscreen monitors that we need to put in the comm center and be able to use all of NG 911 system capabilities that we have right now. So it's for 3 touch screens that will go in the comm center. Attached to that, this is, I just gave you all the backup documents. So at number 2, at tab number 2 is the detailed information about the recorder. We'll come back to tab 3 because that's the one about the phones. Tab 4 is the detailed information about the screens, touch screens that we're gonna get. And tab 5 is just the telephone system that we're gonna talk about. The future cost is gonna be about $1,500 service contract for 3 years or $2,500 for a 5-year service contract. So just so you know what the future cost will be of that new telephone system, just to maintain it. And tab 6 is the courthouse's estimate of what it would cost to add on to that system, and we'll come back to that one too. And then tab 7 is just gonna be I need you all to float me alone in order to be able to do all of this fall, just because I get all the money back, but I have to pay for it first. So I'm gonna end up being about $20,000 short to get this all done by September. So, if we go back to tab 3, basically, what this is gonna do is this is gonna upgrade the phone system in the sheriff's office and Sac City Police. It basically buys the brains of the phone system for the entire courthouse. We'll have the capability for you all to take the courthouse and buy the phones and plug into this system. The system is IP, an IP system. I have to have that in order for it to coordinate with all the other IP systems that are in the comm center. So in order for everything to work together, we have to have an IP phone system. I talked to one of the board members that approves these grants, and he said that they've approved other phone systems, and he's the one that recommended that we go with we buy the brains, do the phones and all the detailed stuff for in the sheriff's office, and then the courthouse would have to buy their own phones. Basically, that's your only cost, to upgrade the entire system to IP, newest capabilities in a phone system. We'll use
How expensive are the phones?
The phones are, you'll see on tab 6, your whole cost is gonna be under $18,000 for 10 of the 8-button phones and 64 of the 16-button phones. And that's what you have currently.
And why do we need these in the rest of the courthouse?
You have a very old system in the courthouse, and eventually you're gonna have to update it anyway, because all phone systems are going to IP capable. So, internet protocol capable. Almost everything is going to that. Eventually, you'll have to do that in order to be compatible with other things that you're gonna bring on board in systems in the courthouse. So, just like our system is the most up-to-date in the comm center, is the most up-to-date technology available. When we finish this project, everything in there will be completely up-to-date and the newest technology available.
And the big thing is if we don't do this with you guys, then we lose the ability to have intercom and work in the courthouse.
Okay.
And all of that.
That's what I was after.
Yeah. So that's why it's important that 911's gonna, the entire new addition in the jail and comm center is all paid for through the grant. They're paying for the brains of the operation and allowing the rest of the courthouse can get onto it. If you don't, then we're not gonna be able to communicate back and forth through our current phone system.
That's what I was after.
Okay.
And we would have to maintain the current brain package that we have now to support these phones.
These phones, exactly.
And I don't know that
We'd
we
have
have-
basically 2 systems.
Right.
Where,
And I don't know that we have room in that space in that room for 2 systems.
That's what I was,
Yeah.
I probably didn't ask the question very well, but that's what I was saying.
and the whole idea is that most of the counties are paying for their NG 911 system with this $100,000. We've already done a lot of things that other counties haven't done. There's only a handful of counties that have upgraded. So in order to use our $100,000, it basically is there and available. All we have to do is submit the grant to get it approved, basically. In order for us to get the same opportunity that all the other counties are doing, we really had to look for projects. We knew the recorder had to be the priority, because that's really the only other thing that we had to change to make the system work. We could stay with the phones and have 2 separate phone systems for the 911 and all of that, but when we have the funds available from the state to use, we felt we should find something to use the money for. And this seemed to be it has to fit the parameter of, it's gotta be directly related to 911, answering and servicing of that. So, and we can justify all the things that are in here. There aren't many more things that we have that we can justify using the state funds for.
And Bobby's done a great job keeping the comm center. I mean, we are probably one of the very few in the state that is this far along as far as CAD and 911 and those types of things, so.
When the state's capable of executing text to 911, we will be one of the first to jump on it. We're ready to do that with all of these things. Once the map's done, the phone system's in, and the recorder's in, we are capable of text to 911.
How long will that be?
The state doesn't, they think that by the end of the year, they will accept requests to text. We will have to go into them and ask to be able to accept the text, and they have to approve. So, but we'll be one of the first to capable of
What's
it.
the total cost of this project, including the grant money and the local?
There's no local matching fund.
No, I mean for our part.
For
of
our
it.
part of this,
The 17,000.
oh, the 17,000, you guys have to pay that.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
What's the total cost of the project?
Total cost for, according to the phone, Ken at the, Rockwell City phone store is $17,763. That,
No, what's the total cost of the entire project, including the grant dollars and this Sac County's $17,000?
oh, okay. You gotta go back to the
Yeah.
844, and
Okay, all right.
17,763.
I
That
guess-
would be the phone system costs.
61,000.
61.
Okay, I guess I didn't. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't give you that sheet, did I?
The recorder's 39,000.
Yeah. But just for the phone system, it'd be 44,884, and then 17,763. So,
And that
61.
recorder and everything, all that's coming out of that 100,000 grant.
All of that's the grant money. So basically, the county cost is the 17,763. Total package would be about $61,000 or $62,000 for the phones only.
So how soon do we need to do that piece?
They accepting, the grant applications now to be executed starting 1 July.
So we need a motion to approve going forward.
Yeah, I assume so.
Do you have any more questions or any concerns about doing? The only issue really is being able for with intercom use and all of that, if you all don't upgrade, then they aren't gonna be able to use, we lose the intercom.
Which we don't want to maintain two systems. I'm not thrilled with, spending that for the phones, but at the same time, if we can't be connected or have to try and operate two systems, that's not.
And like Bobby said, our system is
It is.
20 years old.
And this looked like a great opportunity to save the county some money in eventually upgrading anyway. So, like I said, they're gonna use existing wiring. That, he said, is fine. There aren't any problems with that. So, it's just the brains box is the huge cost.
So are you using the Rockwell City phone store for more than just the phone piece, or are they involved in?
They're doing the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's their project.
Okay.
Yeah, they're doing it in conjunction. There's a company that they're working with because they haven't done the IT system before. So they had to go to somebody for help with the VIA system, because that's what was recommended. And we worked with Emergitech to make sure that this was gonna work with the system. So, and they've installed it in several counties other places. So I would be looking for, the other problem is that I have to pay the $85,000 up front to get reimbursed for the $85,000. So I'd like to start in July in the first vouchers in July, I would pay the down payments for these, which I've got at the end of this fiscal year, $53,000 with the 32 that's being reimbursed from the other project. I'll be about $53,000. So I'll be able to write all of those initial checks. But then when I get to paying everything off, I'll be about $20,000 short, maybe in August or September, depending on when the projects come in.
And then when will that come back?
I get, as soon as I pay all the vouchers,
You get it
I
back.
submit and get it back. Yeah, there's no delay.
Okay.
So basically, I'd be looking for an approval for us to go ahead with the phone system project, and then to float me the $20,000 that I'll reimburse, like last time, that I didn't have to use, so.
I'm fine with that. I don't see that we have a lot of
No,
trust.
And
makes
it could-
sense. I'll make a motion with buy this phone system and provide operating money short-term
I'll second the motion.
Motion's been made and seconded to upgrade the phone system. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. All ayes, motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your work.
Thank you.
Jim, if you need any of those other documents, I'll make you.
Would you please?
I will, thanks,
you.
sorry.
We're on.
County crews, an edge ready, paving road shoulders, repairing a damaged tile line on Zeller Avenue south of 270th Street, patching holes in PC pavements around the county, laying gravel roads, graveling roads in Eureka Township, and contract graveling in Clinton and Richland Townships. Prepping 7 additional locations around the county for calcium chloride dust control application by Jericho. Project status.
Wait a second, Ron, on that contract graveling,
Mhm.
what bit's that coming out of?
I think the one south town here, Carlson, I think. I'll have to check.
I just
That's where.
wondered if it's all the gravels. Have you seen my problem?
I haven't.
I want to look at more of it. It looks pretty sandy. Well, not always, I mean, that's a big tile,
Yeah.
they built that, they brought that primary crusher in to grind up boulders to get it past. I thought that's probably where it was coming from, but I heard somebody that lives in Clinton, wasn't sure where it was coming from.
You know, we've got a couple other places that, in fact, Becker or Stratford Gravel was supposed to be making us some material over on the Luco area, over on 196, and with his schedule, he wasn't, able to get here to get that done before the 1st of July. And we also got some gravel that Hallett's is supposed to put up in the pit down there. Oh, that new one they're opening up.
South Wall Lake.
No, from the 196, 175 junction east, 2 miles on the south side of the road, across from that, one on the north side, they got pretty well worked out.
Yeah, well, I know.
I can't remember the landowner's name on the south side.
Okay.
Project status, the bridge on the Boyer River, west of Wall Lake. Contractor sent me a new schedule, and he's expecting delivery of the I-beams next week. And his schedule anticipates that they have the deck and the back walls poured, so Cedar Valley can cross the bridge by the week of July 20th. The only trouble is Cedar Valley wants to start moving in and removing some of the pavement June 16th, which is 2 weeks away. And they've got an opening in their schedule, and they're planning to start this project toward the end of June as far as the paving went. And with the delay on the bridge projects, it's just got everything so all screwed up, all stuff. So we're gonna have a pre-construction meeting with Cedar Valley next Monday, and at 2:30, we're gonna send letters out to the landowners and residents along D59 there, and, give them a chance to come in and ask questions and let them know what's going on, I guess, as far as the project. We did send out a letter earlier to the landowners telling them, this project is coming. But Cedar Valley, with the bridge not being available for them to cross, we're gonna be discussing some extra costs for longer haul distance, because the bridge won't be crossable when they plan to pave.
So whose liability is that?
Well, when we sign a contract with them, even though it says in there that they're supposed to coordinate with the other contractors, when Cedar Valley bid this, they had talked to Christensen, and Christensen asked them, we should be done with the bridge by the end of June. And so that's the way Cedar Valley has bid it. And so they put some requests in, because they're looking at having to haul up to Highway 175 and west Odo Boat and back down.
To the tune of how much money are you expecting?
They submitted some information, and I guess I haven't really totally analyzed it. I'm gonna talk to the DOT, but on the hauling, they were asking that we pay for an extra 6 trucks, because of the longer haul distance, it'll take more trucks. So rather than pay a per ton or per cubic yard fee on the extra haul distance, they were suggesting that we pay for 6 trucks, $1,200 a day for 10 days of hauling, which amounts to about $72,000. And then they had some other costs in there, but again, we haven't discussed this with them or go through anything yet.
But this is all hinging upon the fact that we're not getting our bridge completed, which isn't our local fault, it's the bridge company.
Right.
And so why should we be liable for additional costs when they're not getting their work done?
And the other option is tell them, wait till the bridge is done, but then, according to the schedule right now, they wouldn't be able to get back till October. And with a thin overlay like that, you don't want them pouring concrete when it's cold.
I mean, that's in your area, Dean, what do you think?
It's the bridge company, they're the ones that said go ahead, so if we have extra costs, it should be passed on to the bridge people. They closed the road before they had the steel in place. I don't think it's our liability,
In 175, they're doing the bridge there over the Boyer too. So I mean, that's gonna be,
Yeah, I'm not sure what all they're doing there. They're just doing guardrail work, and I'm not sure what else.
I don't know if that's gonna be done or not.
I was under impression it would be, because that's Christensen's crew doing that too. That work on that bridge. That's all part of that microsurfacing project, but Stateville sublet that work on the bridge to Christensen.
Well, they're gonna do that micro stuff on resurfacing.
That-
Are they gonna be going on at the same time that?
Yeah, that's a good question. Because I haven't heard anything on their microsurfacing on their.
That could be a problem too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not in favor of paying extra money.
Well, again, I'm gonna visit with the DOT before our meeting on Monday and see what our stance can be as far as.
How many working days do they have
On the bridge or on the?
Bridge.
on our bridge? When they close the road?
May 31st or June 1st was, or April
April.
30th or May 1st.
Let's see. They had 60 working days, which is basically 12 weeks.
So, in July, when in July would they start paying penalties?
28th for sure.
I mean, it'd be the 12 weeks, well, with the holiday in there, gotta put you right close to July 1st. Actually, it should be closer to June 23rd. Last week of June.
So,
Or something. They're saying they might have it back forward, but it's a month of penalty. Approximately a month of penalty, or best case scenario.
I mean, it doesn't help anything that Cedar Valley is, pushing to get in here because of other projects they've got going on, but whether as a.
when do we have to allow them to start? When is our,
They can start anytime after this contract signed.
so why did we sign the contract?
Because we wanted to get this all done this summer.
Well,
I mean-
but we knew we had this snag with the bridge, so
No, we signed the contract
before the snag of the bridge?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where is their plant gonna be down the pits on Wall Lake?
Yeah. I suggested to them they try to find a different place to fit the pit, or the plant. And they were down here and looking for other sites. And,
Why wasn't anybody checking on the steel? I mean,
Well, that's really the contractor's deal. I mean,
or even Calhoun Burns, they're the ones that designed it.
true.
they emailed the shop drawings to both Christensen and the subcontractor that was doing the I-beams. And,
Well,
I mean, somebody in there didn't.
but I mean, that's put us in a bind now, which now turns to money. And somebody has to be responsible. I mean, I don't think that's our deal. I totally agree that you don't want them doing it in October, because then you have the concerns about too cold.
Yeah.
And then that's right in the harvest time frame, which is also uncomfortable.
I mean, the way Cedar Valley's proposing to do this, it would get the whole road open sooner, but it's gonna be probably an additional cost. And we really don't want to put the project off to next year, and I don't know whether they would do that or not without expecting a price increase for, material cost and who knows what else. And one reason, I guess we were, set the schedule up the way we did, with the bridge, and then the paving afterwards, was because we had heard from people in the paving industry that all these pavers were hungry for work, and knew we could get a good price this year compared to waiting till next year.
And that's, I mean, I don't have any issue with that. We did this all in good faith.
Right.
And now that's biting for circumstances out of our control, of which we have somebody else under contract for.
you know, again, I'm gonna visit with the DOT, especially with the, probably the District 3 construction engineer and the construction department up in Sioux City and see, you know, when they've had other DOT projects like this, what, you know, what's their course of action, what happens, I guess.
Let's say we would just postpone the overlay. Is there any money in there that we would lose, like from farm to market or anything that?
No. I mean, $1 million of that is STP funds, and just pushes back the receipt of that federal money. But no, it shouldn't.
Well, I think, you know, visit the DOT and see if the bridge contractor should be partly responsible for some of this added cost, see if there's precedent's been set. I don't like the idea, you know, like the people that called this morning before the board meeting, they're concerned about, you know, you might start addressing that road, some of the roads they're taking because of this, you know, mess we're in.
Oh,
They should have dust control and grading it better, and paying overtime or somebody, you know, instead of doing it once a week, and, you know, around 4-day work week, right? You know,
I know we've done
next
dust
thing we
control
know,
out
you
there.
know, I think we better go out of our way to try and reduce some of the safety concerns of this mess.
That meaning on that 2-mile stretch north of the bridge.
I don't know, you know, the people that are concerned down there, they've talked to Mike.
Okay.
Just like, you know, maybe give Mike the authorization, pay some overtime, you know, they're working 4 days a week. It's hard to keep up with them. You know,
It is.
If we start getting rain, I think this is an unusual situation.
It means we had a problem last year. They're a little less,
Forgiving.
yeah.
No, rightly so.
Oh, and I agree
It's
with
just,
2 years in a row that,
you know, it doesn't make our management or engineer look.
I mean, Cedar Valley's a good company, and when they come in, they'll get it done quickly. They figure they're gonna have about 10 days of paving to do the whole project. So they're a bigger company than what Flynn was that did the other project. But,
You know, the thought of pushing it back 1 year, you know, first off, they're not gonna wanna honor the bid, and without significant negotiation
Yep.
of inflation
Yep.
and more. So, you know, that's not really
'Cause they
an
left-
option.
They left the second bidder on that project with almost $750,000 higher.
Yeah, it was-
They left a lot of money on the table.
Yeah, they'd probably like to get out of it, quite
Well,
frankly.
I mean, you know, the other comment from Cedar Valley has been that if they can't come in and pave this during this 3-week schedule that they got, opening they got in their schedule, that they've got nothing else to do. I mean, they have no place else to go during that period too. And
well, you know, when they bid it to have everybody busy,
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Mhm.
And like he had said in his email, you know, the weather has, you know, created scheduling problems for them, slowing things up, you know, this and that. And so what he thinks now, what he thinks a month from now, after we get additional weather, is gonna.
Well, in their shoes, again, they also bid it in good faith, and
Mhm.
obviously gave
Oh, yeah.
a very good bid when we saw what the others were.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not their fault.
See what the DOT and,
Again, we'll know a lot more after our pre-construction meeting next Monday.
another thing, it says they're hoping for the, delivery. Couldn't they go after?
Well, I did get a email from the DOT. The DOT is doing the inspection, or has hired a consultant out there to do the inspection of the beams, and he sent an email that came, I guess it came yesterday, but it was sent May 31st, no. It was like May 30th or what was the last Friday in
May 30th.
I think he sent the report that day, and they were just finishing welding on those cover plates and bearing pins. And so they're just getting the beams done, so I don't know, I don't think the delay is in the delivery from the plant, it's getting them done so they're ready to ship. And again, I think if we wouldn't let them do the existing bearing pins, I think they're still talking June 25th for those other items that were coming from that subcontractor. It's just been one thing after another. I guess moving on to item 3 then, we talked about the agreement for use of the local roads for that 196 project. I think I showed you this last week, but I'm not sure I left a copy of it with you. This is the standard form from the DOT to use M54 from 175 to New Highway 20 as a detour next year for the 196 projects that includes the 2 bridges, the box culverts, and the reconstruction. Because of issues with the Topeka Shiner needing to get the bridge stream work done early, they're anticipating a March start date on this project next spring. And so they would do any current signing and put up signposts for the detours this fall before it freezes up, so that next spring they can just slap the signs up and start the detour. I guess you're getting other questions on it. It asks for a county representative to sign it at the bottom and name and title, and I guess if the board wanted to sign it, you could sign it, otherwise if you want to authorize me to sign it, I'll go ahead and sign it. And apparently they've also talked to the city, and the city's has given them verbal approval, but they wanted to review it a little bit closer to.
I would make the motion to authorize the engineer to sign the arrangement with DOT for the M54 detour.
I'll second
Motion's been made and seconded to authorize engineer to sign for the detour next year. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All ayes, motion carries.
They, I did get a call from a guy at Depot 4T this morning that they will be sending a DOT bridge crew out to do some inspection on the bridge. It's about 1.25 miles north of 175, and then also the bridge here on M54 going north out of town. To verify that it will carry. They're a little more conservative on their ratings, and since they will be officially their road during that time, they'll check the bridges out. Item 4 there, got a request for a tile line, a 6-inch tile line crossing between section 36 of Levy Township and 31 of Iowa Township. Ray Wellwhite is the upstream landowner, and Rick Steinkamp is the downstream landowner.
I'll make a motion to approve the documents.
I'll second that motion.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve the tile crossing. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. All ayes, motion carries.
talk to DOT and they'll be at the pre-construction on Monday too, so hopefully we get Christian from there too, so we can all sit around and try to figure out what our options are.
You know, I don't know, we're paying Calhoun and Burns on this project. But I think they bear part of the blame. They charge us fees for engineering, and it's up to the engineer to work with the contractor to move these things along. I think they bear part of the responsibility.
I guess I would disagree
And,
there.
well, I don't care what you think. I'm just stating my opinion. And, you know, I think we might have to reevaluate our relationship with Calhoun and Burns. They should have, you know, the engineer, you know, when you bid a project, the engineer works with the contractor, I think, to move things along.
Do they just do specs, or do they have responsibility to
Manage the
manage?
project?
No, their contract was just to design the project and approve the shop drawings.
So then
So
who's,
then it's your responsibility, if it's not theirs, it's your responsibility that these beams weren't getting done on time. It's either theirs or yours, and you're saying it's not theirs, so then it's your you bear part of the blame for this.
I'm thinking you have Calhoun and Burns who does the specs, then you get a contractor to do the bridge project, and I think personally the contractor of the bridge project wasn't following up with the subcontract to get the stupid work done. So if we lean on the contractor for not getting the bridge completed, he's gonna turn around and lean on the subcontractor for not providing the steel and or the stupid pins during the time frame that they were committed to.
Who sends the order in for the beam?
What they do is when the contractor selects a fabricator to build the beams, the fabricator, based on the drawings, draws up what they call shop drawings that show exactly where the holes are drilled and the welds are done and how the welding is done. And he sends those to Calhoun and Burns for approval. Calhoun and Burns reviews them, asks for either more information or changes. Sometimes they require that the prints go back and make changes and they come back for approval. Sometimes they just add notes and approve them based on that. And so the steel contractor sent those drawings in, and then the subcontractor that was doing the bearing plates and the pins, who's the subcontractor of the beam manufacturer, sent
So
those
there's
drawings.
three levels in there then.
They sent the drawings in for approval on those components. That company name was DS Brown, and Calhoun and Burns, I think it was either the same day or within 2 days, had sent those back approved. I put part of the blame on email. Everybody's emailing this stuff back and forth.
Supervisors, this is Renell.
You know, if your computer
Yeah.
doesn't get it, or if somebody's gone and they don't check their email,
Yeah.
I don't know where exactly. But they didn't get, they didn't seem to get
Okay.
ordered in what, from what I've been told, it appears they didn't get ordered in a
Okay.
timely manner.
Yeah, we can.
And,
Certainly
you know,
can.
delivery of those components is slowing down the.
It was just very flexible, and we really have maybe only met a couple times in all these years. So you just set it up and we'll do it. Yeah, I'll make it work. Whenever you get it arranged, just let me know. All right, thank you, Chloe. When are you thinking, or what? Okay. No, that's fine, and I will make it work. Thank you. Bye. Wall Lake is doing a project down there they're trying to get some REAP money for it. Chloe's arranging the REAP meeting. So.
The governor got a whole bunch of dollars out of the reach fund.
Oh, is that right?
That's when he signed the bills he cut. The legislature had, I don't know, 20, was it like?
Yeah,
20
they had
million?
fully funded it, or almost.
Way over, and Branstad cut it back to just a little bit more than what they'd been funded at before.
Really?
Seemed to have cut like 9 million or 11, I guess I don't.
We have an annual meeting in Carroll, and they were all excited that the legislature was gonna try and fund it to the level that they were supposed to be funded. So I hadn't heard that.
I think it was almost, seemed like the legislature almost doubled what they'd been getting in the past.
But it was only to maybe almost the level that the commitment was made years ago that they were to be funded at,
Yeah, I don't,
and that had been trimmed way back.
but he cut a bunch out of there, and then he cut a bunch out of a bill for water quality and conservation.
Really?
It was on the news last night. I don't know if I don't know the numbers.
We were kind of paying attention locally to see whether he did anything with the line item for mental health stuff, and he didn't.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second the motion.
Motion's been made and seconded to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All ayes, motion carries.